What's not to get excited about? Let's face it, Zwaan is exciting to watch whether he's playing against Van Gerwen or whether he's playing some guy down the cafe. But the thing is, Jeffrey's played okay in this tournament so far. He's had flashes, but there have been spells in between where he has had to get a hold of himself and get back on the accuracy horse. But in this game, he knows that it's pedal to the metal straight away and keep it there. Otherwise, he's going to lose.
I talked about, well, I made reference to this supposed barren spell for Michael van Gerwen on the European Tour. I did say that with my tongue very much in cheek, because let's not forget, okay, he's not won any of the last 4 European Tour events, well, but let's not forget, he's won 4 this year, I should say, and he's won 12 since the start of 2018. So, a little bit of perspective. Just looking at one.
When Van Gerwen's career is over, we can look back at that spell and see he was hot back then, wasn't he? 60 needed. Gets it. Double 16. That's the start the Green Machine desired. That's a really sharp response. So a good start from Jeffrey. He was putting himself in position and waiting for that mistake from Van Gerwen, but Jeffrey knows that if you are banking on mistakes from MVG, that maybe you haven't played well enough in that leg.
So Van Gerwen looking for Euro Tour title number 33. Number 32 was secured in Austria earlier this year. He won the Austrian Darts Open in Graz in May. He's also aiming to make it 3 titles in as many weekends, because he won 2 on the World Series stage in Melbourne and in New Zealand as well. And there have been 1 or 2 suggestions from 1 or 2 observers that Michael van Gerwen has not been firing on all cylinders. But I tell you what, Paul, for somebody who's not firing on all cylinders, he's done very well to beat 4 of the world's top 6 over the last 2 weekends.
He may be the only player in the world, by winning 2 titles in a row, and we're still saying, well, is he back? If it was anybody else, we'd be raving about them. But because of the standards he has set for himself, really, we still ask questions of a world number 1 and arguably the greatest flinger of a dart ever. But all he can do is beat the benefit of the doubt, because he said on many occasions he wants to peak for majors, and I think he's building up towards a Grand Prix defence. And I think he might come up against Daryl Gurney at some point and have a real blistering match. I think those 2 got a couple of real crunchers this year. I don't think we've seen the end of that one.
Yeah, well, Gurney was one of the players he beat en route to one of those World Series titles. That was in Melbourne. And you say you can only beat what's put in front of you. Well, Gary Anderson, Peter Wright and Rob Cross were in front of him in the World Series events this year as well. Double 20 is found, and Van Gerwen has eased into a 2-0 lead.
I don't think we've had European Tour events in Austria twice in a year.
Not before this year.
So he's going for a record this Sunday of doing the first ever Austrian double.
Yeah, in this arena 2 years ago as well. So he won the last Euro Tour event to be held in this arena when he beat Michael Smith in that final in 2017. That was the Austrian Darts Open. He won the Austrian Darts Open renewal this year in Graz, and now he's looking to win the Austrian Darts Championship. There are lots of necks of the woods where Michael van Gerwen has had joy. This could well be another one.
First time I've come to the Multiversum in Vienna, and Michael Smith hasn't been in the final. He was eliminated yesterday.
Yeah, losing to Cameron Menzies is one of the qualifiers who will be involved in the quarterfinals tonight. Vincent van Voort is another. Roby John Rodriguez is another one as well.
Great approach from Van Gerwen from 265. Leaves his favourite finish. The first title one back. He will accept that approach to 50. He's got breathing space because Jeffrey just isn't on it yet. Needs more of that first dart, because look what happens when he gets that first dart. Is it too little too late from JDZ?
Might be, because MVG is looking at double 16. And he's still looking at double 16. 16.
Well, said that he can't count on mistakes. Michael's made one, and Jeffrey has punished him. MVG is that was a Jeffrey Zwaan leg, so if he's going to lose one, he'd much rather lose one of those than his own.
Yeah. 100. Darren Webster was the man that Zwaan beat yesterday to advance to the last 16. Played well in the end. The figures reflects well on Jeffrey Zwaan. He averaged almost 98, 6 out of 11 on his double. It was one of those where he'd take a bit of time to get going, but once he hit his stride, he looked okay. Gerwen back in stride once more. Christian Girdle was the man. That was
the hurdle.
Girdle was the first hurdle.
140.
And he improved on his first round performance. Girdle was. We were joking yesterday about words that rhyme with hurdle. Nurdle was one.
There's probably
Girdle is
there's loads of Swedish, I'm sure.
Magnus Carus when you need it.
140. Michael Car 128.
We don't want to be derogatory to the Scandinavian languages, but it does sound like a Swedish word. From VG, and even though Zwaan isn't on a finish, there's a great opportunity to pressure here, and the socks are being pulled up.
96. Michael Car 82.
I expect the socks are in position. Tops after this.
62.
Should have put him a bit higher, Michael.
70.
Now, to equalise JDZ. You have to get this 54. Take a shot, it's tops. And it's right in the middle. That's a 2-2. And this one's getting a bit juicy.
You missed out at tops by Michael van Gerwen, punished with that Zwaan for a break of throw. We said the concession of the first leg was not a big deal for van Gerwen, given that it was on the Zwaan throw, but this will just make him, well, do one of two things. It will make him think, and it may, well, just prompt some sort of a response from Michael van Gerwen.
Yeah, I was going to say, Rob, you cast your mind back to 2013, that kind of MVG was looking for something to ignite his career, and but he was animated all the time. He was constantly grunting and making noise on the stage. That has now become almost a thing of the past, unless he's involved in a real dust-up at the end of a game. He'll find that volume, but he plays a much more placid game these days, doesn't he? I'm not sure if he's lacking a bit of energy. For the lead belongs to Jeffrey Zwaan after being 2-0 down. Great response.
Double 18, Jeffrey Zwaan. It's an 87 check out. He's beginning to work out, and Michael van Gerwen just struggling to find his shooting boots here, because that's another sluggish start. 42 scored.
If Zwaan does win this, it only throws the tournament wide open, but people will be calling him up and tweeting him saying, "Oh, those MVG." There can't be many people in the world who have got the kind of record. Almost everybody has been trounced by him constantly, but Zwaan can live with him.
107.
What's second recovery?
Yeah, well, he's grateful for that treble, because it's 58, 42, 81, 93, and a 47 as well. That was
134.
something he desperately wanted to snap out of.
This game has settled into a lovely rhythm now. I was comfortable with this.
Yes, and the Zwaan is on the Michael van Gerwen throw. It's a big finish, and it's one that he won't take here, but
59.
he can set it up. Could have been better.
Could have been. I'm quite perplexed that he went back to the 20s there, but that's a wonderful approach from the number one in the world. And he's forcing Zwaan to take this 108. This will sting if he can get it. Still can.
Can't now.
Not anymore.
84. Michael requires 16.
Yeah, Michael van Gerwen, even when he's in a spot of bother, somehow manages to rescue the situation, to salvage his situation. And I think Michael van Gerwen will be grateful to be level at 3 apiece here. The Zwaan, it's all about how he responds to that setback. He knows perhaps you should have been 4-2 up.
Well, some legs just stick out in your mind to get your juices flowing. And that 168 approach from Van Gerwen, it resulted in a 16-dart leg, as you can see, but it was a first-class visit. I've seen better games from these two, but this one is a bit edgy. I'm nervous watching it.
121.
Well, the thing is, as far as the Zwaan's concerned, he must be assuming that sooner or later Van Gerwen is going to just raise his game and find his treble on a more consistent basis. But there's another indication that perhaps he's really struggling to find any sort of consistency.
If you'd have said to Jeffrey before this game started that you would have the throw at the very start, it'd be 3-3, you'd have said, yes, I'll have that, thanks.
133.
It's been decent in this tournament. When he gets that doubling rate, it's usually a very good sign. I remember when he was in that match play run, his doubling stats were just incredible.
140. Michael got 140.
That's his coach right there. Looking for the 145, starting on 19s. And Jeffrey may start on 19s himself. Oh, he does have the option of 20s.
Great setup play by Van Gerwen there. Didn't flinch despite that wayward first start.
Big dart
76.
over the bar, not by much. And Van Gerwen can retake the lead right here with a much better 13 dart. He'll have to settle for 15, but he gets there. That's a big animation. Big dart, big lead for MVG and a big break.
Well, MVG will know that he's not playing well here. He can certainly raise his game, but somehow he's 4-3 up and he's got another break. A missed start at tops there for the Zwaan. And that's the thing, that's the psychological battle you've got to overcome when you are facing Michael van Gerwen, because the Zwaan, he's aware that Van Gerwen is nowhere near his heights. He's way off target with a lot of his trebles, and a lot of his scoring is below pass. Always consciously thinking he's going to come again soon, he's going to come again. This is not going to last.
96.
And that's the difficulty that the Zwaan has got here.
Yeah, I agree with that. When you're playing someone of the ilk of...
You know you've got to make the most of those chances.
Yeah. Eric in the 80s had that
100.
aura about him. Phil in the 90s and the noughties, and obviously Michael for the last 5-6 years. You expect to kick in even when they're playing poorly. But a 171 from MVG from 271 cuts that score to shreds.
The average is less than 95 for Michael van Gerwen, but, well, in some ways, if he does come through this, it's very much in keeping with what he's been doing of late.
80.
You know, I remember Dan Dawson a while ago on social media commenting that after years and years of, you know, winning titles by throwing some of the best darts ever thrown, Van Gerwen is now trying to win more titles by playing not as well, shall we say. Playing way below his own high standards and still winning titles.
Oh, he's got the Joe Cullen shot. How does he possibly have to go to the right and look at the top half?
It's marginally more favourable than the situation that faced Cullen, I've got to say, but still, that was a very, very tricky shot to pull off, and Michael van Gerwen has produced the goods. 5-3.
Great shot, Michael. Got to know your angles in this game. It's not a game of snooker, of course, but there are angles you need to use when you block the bed. Now, Michael's darts are quite thin, so he doesn't put up a massive house-like obstruction, but still got to hit it. And the more you go to the right or left, the skinnier that double becomes. That just goes to show that no matter how skinny that double is, Michael van Gerwen can hit it. His 19s have been very, very good today. They've come to his aid, and how many times have we said that when he's not playing his best game, his treble 19 shooting, and I'm going to go out on a limb here,
58.
I really do think that nobody in history has hit the treble 19 segment as good as MVG.
98.
Feel free to respond to Paul on Twitter if you want to challenge that, but I think you have made a very strong case there.
Well, I think he uses it more than most as well, which embellishes the point. There was a time in the chips, I forget which year it was when Mark Webster made the semi-final after beating Phil Taylor. His treble 19s during that Worlds were just frightening. Zwaan, 130 to save his skin and stay in it.
Way off that treble.
152.
Oh, this would be a stylish way to finish things off. One more of those would have left double 16.
100. Jeffrey requires
Surprised he missed that. Must have pulled it centimetre in the air because that was gagging to be hit again just under the marker dart. Top 6.
56.
Too shy. Hush, hush, eye to eye.
Yeah, missed start at tops for a 4-3 lead in leg 7. A missed start at tops there as well could prove very costly indeed. Michael Van Gerwen finds double 10. And Michael Van Gerwen, as he so often does, finds a way to win a match when he doesn't play as well as we know he can. He was some way below his own high standards. The average in the end, nothing to write home about, 93, 94 or so. But Michael Van Gerwen, in his first meeting with Jeffrey Zwaan since that defeat in the summer of 2018, comes good and advances to the quarterfinals of the Austrian Darts Championship.